Welcome to episode 1 of the Extra Kick. I'm Ashley Anderson with that extra kick of wine because it is after 5 o'clock Central Time. I'm in Houston, Texas, and I'm here with my co-host Donald Wine, who is in Los Angeles currently. And we just saw Mexico beat South Africa 2-0. Donald, you were on the ground in LA watching the game at a bar. First off, how's the day been going, and what have you seen so far?
Well, first of all, Ashley, it's great to be on this journey with you. I don't have wine with me, but my last name is Wine, so I always have wine with me, I guess. But no, it was great. I've been in LA since Monday night, and the fever pitch of like getting towards Friday when the U.S. opens up in the World Cup has been kind of steadily growing, and this was the real moment, right, where we were able to kind of see that first game. And now it's real. The tournament is underway. And so I was at a bar in Venice Beach. I went to U.S. Soccer's soccer house. They're like kind of headquarters in LA for the tournament, for like a live viewing like of the opening ceremony and stuff. It was very, very cool. Then we went around the corner to a cafe that had the TV scrolling. Fans of all teams, right? Not just Mexico, but the United States. There are some other French jerseys randomly around, but it's been fun, and watching the game and having that kind of atmosphere makes it feel real that the tournament's finally here. It's been something that a lot of us have been looking forward to since we got it back in 2018. And so to see that opening match, even though it's Mexico, I'm a U.S. fan, so that's our arch rivals. But to see that opening against South Africa was very, very special. And so we're really glad that the tournament's underway.
Interesting opening game, 3 red cards. What were your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I was not expecting that. I don't think anybody was expecting 3 red cards, but it was kind of a weird game, right? Funny enough, for people who don't remember, in 2010, South Africa hosted the World Cup, and their opening match was against Mexico. So this is kind of a return game, if you think about it, from 2010. And the moment of Quinones kind of scoring that goal, everyone went crazy. And even if like even us as US fans were kind of like, oh wow, that's a great goal. That's a great way to start the tournament. But I don't think it was marred by the penalty or by the red cards. I think it just kind of added a different element of what's going on here, to the whole match. Having two guys go down for South Africa, and then very, very late in the game, when you're thinking, okay, this game's over, all of a sudden Mexico gets their own red card, and so you're thinking, okay, maybe South Africa has a chance to pull a goal and at least make it interesting, but it wasn't to be told. So Mexico ends up with 2-0, and I think with this game it was interesting because it felt like there were some nerves, right? Mexico doesn't play a lot of times in Mexico. They play a lot in the United States, which is kind of one of the interesting quirks about their national team. So to be able to play in Estadio Azteca, which is one of the crown jewels of soccer in the world, and to kind of have that kind of atmosphere there behind them, makes it more like a World Cup for them because they're so used to playing here. Now they get to play in front of their home fans in their home stadium, and I think all of it was very, very cool. But the red cards kind of made it a very interesting quirk to what was a very, very cool day.
Makes it very memorable. And I'm relying on Donald here for all the analysis because I have this Ted Lasso storyline going on. I'm definitely a American football expert, I would call myself. Fantasy football expert. NFL is my prime time sport that I follow. I'm in Houston, Texas, kind of unexpectedly because I left my job recently as a horse racing analyst and found out I got a phone call the day before I was planning to put my notice in. Got a phone call that I was heading to Houston, not where I was trying to go. I was actually trying to go to Los Angeles or Atlanta because I was looking to potentially also move to those cities. But here I am for a month in Houston. I'm going to be working behind the scenes at the stadium with event operations, with the VIPs, but going to be doing some coverage here with our new podcast, which, funny story, we had a totally different name. And the 11th hour realized we had to change it. So it's now called The Extra Kick. And I like that because I always like an extra kick.
As do I, and it would have been great to have you out here in LA for the games. But I'm glad you're in Houston because I have family in Texas, I have family in Houston. Great city, great barbecue. Hopefully, you get to partake in that part of the Houston culture, but also just I'm sure for the game today, it was a great atmosphere as well around the town because Houston has a lot of Mexican fans. It has a lot of people who are invested in the Mexican game. So I think that was probably a great place for you to be. And I'm excited for your journey over the next 5 weeks of being in Houston and being a part of what will be some great, great games at Energy Stadium.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it all the way over to, so Energy Stadium's where the fan experience is, but
Hmm.
or actually where the Houston Astros play is where the fan experience is, and we're calling it Houston Stadium instead of NRG Stadium,
Correct.
the
Yes.
Texans play for the World Cup. But I wish I could have been at the fan experience for this first game because I saw the footage during the game and it looked like it was packed over at that fan experience, FIFA fan experience. So I'm going to make my way down there eventually. But right now, I got here on Tuesday. I've been settling in. I'm in the museum district. So doing a lot of prep for our new podcast and experience and everything that we're going to cover while we're in Houston. And you actually are going to be in other locations, not just Los Angeles. So tell us your path because you have an interesting travel plan right now.
Yeah, and it's still evolving, I should say, because of work and other aspects of life. But I'm here in LA. I'm going to go to the U.S. Paraguay game on Friday. Then I leave on Saturday for Dallas. I'm going to the Netherlands Japan game. I also my dad and my brother live in Dallas, so I get a chance to spend a couple days with them, which is something I haven't been able to do in a few months. So I'm really looking forward to that part of the trip. I then go to Vegas, which has no matches. We're just going to hang out. You
Why
and
not?
me and a few of our mutual friends are just going to hang out and have a few days in Vegas to just kind of enjoy all the games away from the host cities. And then from there, it's on to Seattle for the second U.S. match. We're going to go to Vancouver for Egypt versus New Zealand. I then might be traveling with a friend down through some of the national parks on along the West Coast, all the way back down to LA in time for the game against Turkey on the 25th. I The other thing is I also have this press pass. I was able to get credentialed for games in Philadelphia, which is the very opposite side of the country from where I am right now. It's close to where I live in DC, but I'm not there for 3 weeks. So I have to figure out how to get back to DC to maybe go to a game in Philadelphia, and then after that is the knockout stage, and hopefully the U.S. has some games somewhere. And I think at that point it'll just be where is the U.S. going? That's where I will be.
And over here in Houston, so I have on Sunday the first game in Houston. It's Germany and Curacao. And then we are going to go all the way to the round of 16. I have that game on the 4th of July, and then I head home. So you're hoping that you'll go all the way, but realistically, how far does Team USA go?
I think the U.S. men's national team, it's interesting because the way that this bracket is set up, there's 48 teams. It's the first time they've had 48 teams. And normally you can see, okay, if I'm first place, I'm going to play one of these teams. If I'm second place, I'm going to play one of these teams. But now there's this third place element because 32 teams make it to the knockout stage. And so if we're first place in the group, you're thinking that's a great, great setup, but it could be, no disrespect, like a Cabo Verde or a Saudi Arabia, a team that you look on paper, you go, this is a winnable game. It could also be Senegal. It could be Norway, which are very tough teams. And you think on paper, you go, that might be a little bit more difficult than you're expecting. If you're the third place team, which of course we're not hoping to be, but that's still a possibility, we could be facing a Portugal or a France or a Belgium, teams that top five teams, top 10 teams that you have to be able to beat. And that's been something that it's been very difficult for the United States to do. So I'm hoping to get out of the group and get into a situation where we have a nice little path that feels winnable. After that, I think winning the round of 32 is something that I would expect us to do. Or at least hope that we would do, and then the round of 16, you're facing a tough team regardless, and I think that's where you put yourself in a position where you have a puncher's chance. And whether it's France, whether it's Argentina, whether it's again like a Saudi Arabia type of team or a Denmark or something like that. Like I want that game to be one where the United States has momentum. And I think as they get further in the tournament, as the host nation, as the co-host nation, you can get some of that momentum and that inspiration like we get in the Olympics whenever hockey or basketball advances far. You can get that kind of wave. And that can only help the United States men's national team. So I hope, obviously, delusional me is saying, let's win the whole thing. We're here. Let's win the whole thing. And let's have a nice little ticker tape parade in New York City on July 19th. But the realism is this is a very difficult tournament. There's a lot of great teams, and you just got to play the team that's in front of you. And hopefully they're able to just maximize those moments. And as they continue to play, hopefully inspire this whole nation to be behind them.
Well, I think I saw on social media you called it that the US is going to win because you had a little run-in. Was it today or yesterday you actually ran into a former player? Was that?
Yeah, so I was at Raising Cane's, which is right next to the stadium here in LA, SoFi Stadium, which is Los Angeles Stadium for the tournament because FIFA doesn't like sponsorships that aren't theirs. But I really we got to run into Landon Donovan, who was kind of doing this event, and he has the same thing, right? And as a player, it's very cool because on a couple other podcasts that I do, I've been able to talk with him over the years, and honestly, I actually been able to play soccer with him, which he told me I played very good, and I think I retired from soccer on the spot because when Landon Donovan tells you you're good, you don't need anybody else's opinion. But I think the idea is these players, like former players, also feel it too. Like he talked about the nerves that he feels when the team lines up to play, and he realizes that he can't, you know, put on the jersey and go out there with them. Guys like Clint Dempsey, who I was able to meet today, like those guys really still live this moment and they've been through it before. So it's great to kind of see what their perspective is on how this team will play. And all these guys are very excited about the possibilities that these guys have, but it's still a bigger moment because those guys didn't play in World Cups that are in the United States. This team has that opportunity to be a host nation that can ride the wave of the host nation. And so I think that's a very unique challenge for them. And but what knowing some of the players and interacting with some of the players that are on this current team, these guys are going to be ready. Like these guys don't really like recognize fear or like the fear of embarrassment or things like that. They just say, hey, if we could go out and play our game, we'll get everybody on our side. So let's just go out and do our thing. So I'm really looking forward to this opening game. That's going to be that first 5 minutes of nerves are going to kind of give way to the game and the action on the field, and I think that's what everybody's excited for.
Now, I knew that Landon Donovan was at a specific opening of Raising Cane's right outside SoFi Stadium, big celebration, I suppose, for
Mhm.
that new franchise, or at least that new restaurant opening from that franchise. But where were you when you met Clint Dempsey? Was that a specific fan event?
Yeah, so U.S. Soccer has like have kind of branded a headquarters here in L.A. It's actually in Venice Beach, and they're calling it U.S. Soccer House, and it's kind of the way to say for people who are fans of the team, this is your home while we're here for the tournament. And every day throughout the group stage, at the very least, they're going to be open. They're going to have activities. They'll be showing a lot of the other games, and of course, the U.S. games. And then they have like a whole museum. I didn't get a chance to go through the museum today because there was just so many people and not enough time. But that's going to be their source. And so Fox, as part of the opening ceremony for the Mexico game, they had a live feed from US Soccer House. So we were out there for that. And so afterwards, as Clint is trying to make his way through this crowd of people, me and my friend from college, we just kind of walked up and said, "Hey, can we get a picture?" He was able to throw up the deuces because he's Deuce, and we took a picture of him, and it was great. He's my favorite player of all time. So to be able to see him again and be able to get that kind of snapshot moment with my friend who had never met him was really cool. And that's I think what this World Cup is all about. If I can say one more thing about this World Cup, last night at the hotel, I'm vibing with this guy from Scotland who ironically lives in Australia. His team is playing in Boston, so I was like, "What are you doing here in Los Angeles?" And he said, "I'm flying through on my way to Boston." And we're just catching the vibe of this tournament. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is throughout all the controversy that might surround any major tournament, especially this one, the people are what make this tournament great. The be able to, for us to welcome them to Los Angeles, to the United States, to say, "Hey, have a great time." I'm giving him recommendations of places to go when he's in Boston and Miami. Those sort of things are what make this tournament great. Being able to meet fans from all over the world is what makes the World Cup so special to me. So I hope Ashley, you get to run into that sort of vibe in Houston. I'm sure you will with the number of different teams that are coming through there, but also just the American fans saying, hey, the German fans, come over here. Curacao fans, come over here. Portugal, come over here, right? Let's have some fun. Because when we travel to places, they're the ones welcoming us. The host nations are welcoming us with open arms. And I've always said one thing we can control is that it's our turn to do the same for everybody else. So I'm really looking forward to meeting so many different people. A lot of great bonding, lasting memories from this World Cup will be because of the people we run across, not necessarily just the action on the field.
Yeah, we've seen a lot on social media with these fans coming from other countries and experiencing American culture for the first
Yes.
time. I think it was someone from Germany went to Waffle House, someone
He
was
went to Bucky's, like
Buc-ee's.
yeah, he went to Waffle House. He went to Bucky's. I think he went to that Argentina game at Auburn, and people were there like, I don't know what an Auburn is and why it's existing. But there, that's the memories that they're gonna hopefully have from this tournament. It's not going to be some of the bad stuff. It's going to be the action on the field and the memories that they come across. And let me tell you, Ashley, there are Bucky's near you. If you can get to a Bucky's, please, please, please go to a Bucky's. It will change your life.
I've been
And
to
I'm
a
glad it
few,
was too.
just not in Texas, but I've
Yeah.
been to the one that's near Atlanta.
Yes.
And there's one now, I think, somewhere that was built in Kentucky, I want to say. But
Hmm.
yeah, I do enjoy Buc-ee's, and I'm glad that people from other countries can now understand what the phenomenon of Buc-ee's is, because it is
Exactly.
a very unique, I don't
That's
know, to even
that's what
describe
people
it.
need to learn about this World Cup. They need to learn about the Bucky's. They need to learn about the Waffle Houses. They need to learn about the In and Outs.
The
All of that,
burgers.
all the food that we have, and just again, the vibes are always there. So yeah, I'm excited about this.
They'll definitely get a higher sugar content, I think, than other countries allow.
Yeah, I mean, moderation. We'll
America,
teach them about moderation with
yeah,
everything, but
they'll
you
learn.
can't get enough Bucky's.
So that is something that I'm going to try to kind of take advantage of having all these other countries here. I won't have Team USA in Houston, but I have Germany, I have the Netherlands, I have Portugal and Ronaldo coming in. I have Saudi Arabia, I have Cabo Verde, I've got Curacao, as I mentioned. So I'm hoping to go to some of these watch parties on my days off as well. Hoping to run into some of these fans and do some interviews to learn a little bit more about their culture and what they're experiencing with our culture. Because, like I said, I'm not really a soccer expert. That is Donald's role. And while you're in LA and Dallas and Seattle and everywhere else, tell us what your goal is. Because I know we already posted today that you had a pick for our opener, which you did
Hmm.
hit the money line on Mexico, and you also have South Korea to pull off a slight upset in the later game. You're going to be doing some betting content, but what else do you plan to cover from all these different cities?
I think just the analysis of the game, right? And like you, I'm going to have different experiences with the fans. Obviously, mine is going to be more US centric because those are a lot of the games I'm going to. But on these off days, going to watch the games, that's what we love to do anyway. So in those bars, in those restaurants, in those fan fests, you'll get to meet fans of different teams and see how those vibes are because that's again part of what the World Cup is. It's about the uniting of everybody through soccer. So I'm really looking forward to that part, but also the analysis of really understanding this game and what's happening in this tournament, why it might be happening, what the effect might be of a game with three red cards, or if the U.S. Pulls off a win tomorrow, or if they draw, whatever. Those are the things that I'm looking forward to, and then also just using my brain to kind of figure out how this thing is going to work itself out, and that's where the picks are going to come through. And I think South Korea again has a really talented team, and Czechia does as well. But I think the offense of South Korea is going to be what kind of rules in the end in that one, which is why they're probably a slight upset. But some of these games we're going to see what those picks of the day are going to be, and maybe you guys can figure out how to maybe cash in on them. But I think the idea is finding rooting interest in this tournament where they may not exist in your mind, figuring out storylines as to fit so that you can understand why some of these teams are in this tournament and maybe how far they can go.
My favorite thing is prop bets about, I think it was 2 World Cups ago. My brother, he played soccer. I never played soccer. I played every sport but soccer for some reason.
Hmm.
And I got really into betting kind of the sucker bets. I would go for exact score, but I came really close. It was a game, I can't remember who Portugal was playing, but I bet 4-3, and I think it ended up being a higher scoring game. It was 5-4, I believe. I think it went into extra time. So they don't hit very often, but if you're kind of, in my shoes, more of that casual fan, it can be a good way to stay invested in the game
Right.
because even though you're maybe putting long odds or putting a bet on long odds, it still is something fun to root for, but you're coming at it from more expertise, so you have a much better chance of hitting your bets than I do. I'm probably going to lean on your sports bets and then kind of tail those, but maybe throw in a few fun props as well.
I'm gonna make at least $10 in this tournament. Because funny enough, we were talking the other day. I am in several states that don't have gambling, so I can just offer these to everybody, but I can't actually do anything about them except watch the games that with rooted interest. But yeah, I think part of it is about figuring out what those rooting interests might be. If you have a game with two teams that you like know nothing about, this is the opportunity to kind of say, okay, let me pick one side and go. That's the beauty of this tournament. That's the beauty of America, right? We have so many people from everywhere. There's a big melting pot of fans, but also everyone wants to have at least some rooting interest in every single sporting event. And even if it's something like, oh, yeah, I think this team has this one guy who's really good, I'm going to go with them. Sounds great. If you like the jersey color, sounds great as well. Those are the things that we can do here. But we're going to hopefully offer some analysis that would give you guys some meat behind why we're picking some of the games we do.
It's funny, I'm in unfamiliar territory too because I can't technically place the sports bet where I am in Texas, and I'm coming
Correct.
from a career I just left in horse racing where I was betting all the time on horses, but also on sports in Kentucky. We have it all legal over there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to probably call up a bookie if I want to put down now, which is totally fine. My brother has served as a bookie for me many years ago before Kentucky legalized sports betting. I probably shouldn't say that, but it's fine. No one's
Aim small, miss small. That's how we make it fun and make it entertaining. And again, like when I'm in DC, it's like $1 here, $1 there. It's nothing that I can't
exactly.
afford, it's nothing that I can't, part with. But yeah, it's fun to kind of again figure out a way to find a rooting interest. And if it's, finding some guy to score 2 goals and you see them score one, that makes it a little bit more exciting. But I think honestly, the action on the field is going to be exciting enough. This is the pinnacle of soccer. If you're tuning in, this is the World Cup. So I'm really excited for everyone here in the United States who haven't been as fully invested as I have in this game to be a part of this because that's what this is about. It's about creating that legacy that maybe after this World Cup, we have millions of more fans who are more invested in this game and wanting to take it to the next level.
Before we go, I want to ask you because we have 48 teams, an expanded World Cup, and obviously I know you're rooting for the US. We already saw one game. We have many more to go, but as it stands right now, most logical pick to win the World Cup.
You
Take
know,
the heart out of it.
yeah, so taking the heart out of it, I think for me, the best team on paper and the best team that you think can put things together, honestly, it's France. I love how France plays. One of my favorite players that in the world right now is Kylian Mbappe. He's incredible, but he's funny enough, he's not even the best player right now on their team. They have Ousmane Dembele, who's the Ballon d'Or winner. They have Michael Elise, who is on fire right now. Just scored a hat trick the other day. And they have just from top to bottom, it feels like they have a really complete team. They've won in 2018. They lost on penalties to Argentina in 2022. So, if they get back to the final again, that'll be the third straight time they have gotten to a final. I think only Brazil have done that in the course of the history of the World Cup. So I'm really excited about how they're playing. If you look at some other contenders, you have, Argentina, obviously, because Lionel Messi is going to can will them to do anything. England's always up there, but they always find a way to bottle it, in their words, bottle it late. And Germany is always a strong team. I saw them the other day, and they didn't feel like a team that could win it all, but they felt like a team that is always in the running. And if they can put everything together, they have the tools to really, make it where they can get deep in the tournament. So there's a lot of great teams in this tournament. There's a lot of great players in this tournament. I think the one thing that everyone should keep in mind is a very hot goaltender, very hot goalkeeper can get a team further than a guy who's scoring a ton of goals. Because if you have a guy standing on their head between the posts to keep balls out of the net and keep your opponent off the scoreboard, that can mean that at the end you can punch it in and make it a 1-0 victory. It doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you win. A hot goalkeeper is the key most times to a world championship team.
It's a good tidbit there. Little something I learned now
Yeah, see?
on match day one. Well, I know you have a busy schedule. You're headed to the night before party with American Outlaws.
Hmm.
I'm planning to go find the American Outlaws in Houston tomorrow to get some interviews for the Team USA game. And yeah, we have a lot more to come. So tell us real quick what happens in these night before parties. I've never been.
So the night before party is great because it's a chance for people from around the country to gather and get ready to support their team. It's a way to meet people from around the country and see that you're not alone in this business of traveling to support the national team that we all love. So it's great. We get to be in a lot of friends. We've become family over the years with a lot of us, and so it's a great chance to just reunite with all those people. And I think for a World Cup, it hits differently because now for us, it's starting to really sink in that tomorrow we're going to go into SoFi Stadium and we're going to watch a World Cup game featuring our national team. And like for a lot of us, for some of us, they don't even have to travel 10 yards from their front door, right? To get to the game. It's not us traveling to another country, but it's really, really going to be a lot of fun. And anybody who wants to be a part of it, sure. You don't need a ticket to the match to join us for our night before parties or our pregame parties. It's theamericanoutlaws.com. You can click on the match that you want to go to. And if the team is in your city, there's going to be a night before and a pregame. If it's not in your city, there is a chapter that you can go watch the game with on match day. And again, get that same kind of feeling that you feel like you're in the stadium with the national team and giving them their support.
Well, I hope you have a fun time at the night before party. I wish I was going. I'm gonna stay here on Central Time and get my bearings together here in Houston, but we will definitely be back with more analysis, more recaps of everything happening. And this is episode 1 of The Extra Kick.